Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tom F. Baddinger, joined here by DM Brandon.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole name.
That's the whole name. I
That's
don't know
the
your
whole
name
name.
like Bart does. But anyway, how you guys doing today? We got some exciting matches. What are you thinking today?
I'm just excited. We have 8 really strong teams competing for 4 slots in the SPL, which means 4 teams are going to be very upset today.
So if you guys are just joining us, this is the first week you're looking at us. We've got a 3-week qualifier going on to figure out who's going to play in the Smite Pro League for Season 2.
That's right.
We've already got 2 weeks in the book, and this is the final week. We did some open tournaments to really allow everybody and anybody to sort of join the tussle, figure out what was going on, and we've boiled it down to 2 separate groups, Brandon. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to see Denial Esports going up with COG, Polyjuice, and Legion in Pool 2. Pool 1 will contain fan favorites Eager. We also have Complexity, which is obviously a huge name. I don't think many people are expecting them not to make the SPL.
Exactly.
Busters and Nomads.
That group is widely considered as like a group of death.
That's a death pool.
Yeah, everybody's really afraid of that pool. I can only imagine because Busters and Polyjuice had a tie.
Right.
And they had and that was randomly seeded to figure out who was in there. You got to figure that they were both at home, just sort of crossing their fingers, like watching the lottery.
I don't think either team is happy. It's like COG and Denial, or you have Complexity and Eager. Like either way, you're gonna have a bad morning as the 8th and 7th seed.
Yeah, I mean just for some background, Complexity and Eager are previously known as Snipe and Dignitas, so you know what you're getting out of that. You know, Laz is going to be an incredible force for Eager, and Allied and Weekend are going to do what they can.
Cyclone.
I was about to get there.
Cyclone.
We've got a soul laner on the side of Complexity that everybody likes, but Legion and COG are two. I mean, they're 2 newer kids on the block, right? Some familiar names in there with Mask on COG, and there's some people you might recognize from ranked play, but new to the pro scene, so what they're going to bring out is a little mysterious.
I'm actually interested very much in Pool 2 because Polyjuice is going to have a weird dynamic where they have a winning record versus COG, but they've never beaten Legion, and I don't think any of those teams are beaten Denial.
Yeah, that should be very, very interesting just because of how crazy it is. And we're going to get into the first matchup. So let's take a look at Polyjuice versus Denial Esports. That'll be our first matchup.
Oh, I think I just predicted who I thought would win.
Did you?
I just said no one's beaten Denial in that pool.
All right, well, Denial's going up against Polyjuice, so that's going to be a little interesting for them to take a look at. As you see, Denial represented by the blue side and the top, Polyjuice, the red side and the bottom. And the first ban is Shibalanki. This has been a standard in Season 2.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually going back and forth with this ban. I don't think he's a very strong first pick. I'm starting to think that maybe he's not the S+ tier that we expect just because he loses so badly to Cupid. I mean, it's really a hard matchup. Sylvanas getting taken away pretty early as well, considering Nemesis still on the board, is usually considered a pretty hard counter. Athena, now that's a curious ban coming out from Blue, considering they could have first picked her. I think she is one of the biggest first picks, but this will force a dynamic from Poly. Both Bastet and Thor are open. This should be a Thor first pick.
Yeah, it definitely should be a Thor first pick. Thor's one of those characters, sort of like Agni, that will never really falter. Regardless of the meta that goes on, just because the ultimate is so powerful for not only making up for positioning mistakes, but capitalizing on positioning advantages. And there he is right there, Thor, the man with the heavy hammer. Not quite. Not a Thanatos this time around. So we'll see how Polyjuice answers in the first round of picks.
Now, jungler picks here could still be strong. I would say Nemesis is still on the board, a big favorite of Purifieds. But Agni, as you see, I definitely think was the correct pickup. Now, Cupid, to me, is a little bit curious here. While he's considered very strong, he doesn't have a great matchup against Artemis and goes even with Rama. So there's still options here. So a little bit strange to see Moji opt for the Cupid so early. But the Agni pick, I think, is perfect. It's Jaco Malfoy's best god. He's probably the best mage in the game. I mean, you can't falter with that pick.
Yeah, as I said before, Agni is sort of like a one-size-fits-all character. You take a look at the newer characters that have come out. Wheelix strictly counters jumps, and things like Nox, who counters fast.
Nothing.
Well, the idea behind Nox is to counter multiple spell casts, right? Agni is a character like Thor that no matter what's going on, it's always a good choice.
They'll fit on any comp.
Exactly. He's a mage with a Manaless ultimate that he can cast 3 times, a stun, and a huge dash. So that's going to be great. Geb picked up on the support side for Denial. Really no surprise there, just standard great stuff.
For me, I think it is actually kind of a surprise. Shadowq usually opting into characters who can be a bit more aggressive. Geb usually seen as more of a defensive support. Of course, he's going to blink in, get the Cataclysm, get the knockup, but from there he usually plays on the sideline as opposed to the front line. He usually likes characters like Sylvanas, Athena, Wukong, but We're going to see a Poseidon pickup here. A lot of people considering that Poseidon has a decent matchup versus Agni, doesn't really win, doesn't really lose, and has great kill potential in the early game. Polyjuice opting to take away Artemis, a very smart ban in my opinion, considering she does outright beat Cupid, so win there for Poly. Denial's final ban here, and it looks like it's going to be Bakasura, a shot to Wolfie.
Interesting pick, interesting ban on the Bakasura. Bakasura is a dominant solo laner. We'll see how that works out because Wolfie is traditionally known for playing more of the tanky bruiser type characters.
Warrior player.
We've seen him move into the mid role and play a lot of mages lately on his stream, but as far as the Bakasura and the Assassins, it's there. It's just not something he's known for. So Denial really doing their homework right there. Loved your analysis on the Geb, by the way. Shadow Q absolutely is an offensive player. We're going to see a Rom pickup. Yeah. This is a character that a lot of players, both in the competitive side of things and the casual side of things, are a little torn on in the new meta. His astral arrows are tough because they're mana hungry now, but he does have the purple buff. So
I personally think he's the most balanced. He doesn't lose to Shibalanka. He doesn't lose to Cupid. Doesn't beat them either.
Right.
Goes even with Artemis. He's just your quintessential hunter pick. Hunbots being picked up, though, will either force Thor into solo or Hunbots into solo. I'm assuming Xing's going to be taking Thor. It seems like a much better fit. Best will likely take Hunbots to the solo lane. And then finally, Wolfie looks like he's going to be taking Sumokong into the solo lane as well.
We've got two monkeys. Is already a good game. There are two monkeys on the field. So Hunbat's solo lane it's basically a Cyclone Spin pick. I don't really think Cyclone Spin picked it, and then a member of last year, a member of Team Coast, Confrey picked it on accident. And wound up winning for Team Titan, an event known as Aquila. So interesting stuff coming out from the best. Not again a little outside of what what he's known for using. But we're gonna get in here and actually see everybody on the board. So there it is. As we said, the Hunbat's gonna find his way into the solo lane, piloted by the best. Mace of the Face is gonna play the powerful Poseidon in the mid lane. One of the things that I want to point out before we even get into it is Poseidon's Whirlpool has a cripple, which will prevent Agni from dashing out of it.
Right.
But there's a little bit of technique there.
That's true. I mean, you must really get him right in the center for him not to be able to just walk out of it and dash anyway. Yep. But if you're quick on the combo with the Kraken, it can result in early kills, especially when you're comboing that with Thor.
Yeah.
Remember, Aegis does very well against the Kraken. However, Aegis will not do very well against Thor. Aegis, neither Greater nor Pendant, will break any form of CC anymore that will stop a player from being able to use an ability, as Greater did in Season 1. So having Thor come out of the jungle here is a huge pick for Poseidon, because Anvil of Dawn into release the Kraken is now a guaranteed combo without beats.
I love the pick of Rom for Madman Mark on the side of Denial Esports. Madman Mark is an up-and-comer. He's sort of flirted with the competitive scene, but never really attached himself to a team. Denial, I think, is his best shot so far. And it's something that we're going to take a look at. So very interesting to see Madman Mark being picked up.
All right, so bottom side, doesn't look like anything crazy is going on. I really almost 100% expected Denial to jump in against Polyjuice on the invade, and for some reason they're not going for it. Now, this is a strategy that has worked for Denial against Poly in every single scrim that we've seen them do so far, and for some reason it looks like they're going to play the safe route this game. This probably has to do with the fact that Shadow Q has gone into Geb. Right side looks like both Xing and Best will be able to clear this up quickly. Top side, Purified and Wolfie are to lane as well.
Yeah, mid lane gets there just in time. So we're going to take a look at this solo lane. As we said, we've got two monkeys in it. Sun Wukong on the side of Polyjuice and Hunbats on the side of Denial. Nemesis being piloted by Purified. We talked a little bit about that earlier. Purified plays a very, very strong Nemesis. Now, taking a look across the map, really, Nemesis doesn't, this is what we're talking about. She usually counters high health pool, high tanky gods, but she's also good without that counter present. She can sort of do both. And here, there's really no counter there, Brandon. So what is she going to look to be a little bit different, as if she was countering a Zhang Kuei?
Well, actually, I'm looking at left side here. Shadow Q taking a lot of damage. No, okay, I thought we'd see more. Shadow Q has gone into shield in the first step there, so it will be enough to keep him alive. But as for Nemesis, I mean, what it really comes down to is she's looking to take that Geb down as fast as possible. Purified, though, in a bit of trouble. Oh, dashes right back out to make sure he doesn't get caught, and it doesn't look like Best or Xing will decide to go into the enemy jungle for the push.
Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit of aggression still here on the right-hand side. Hunbass is going to jump away, and Thor will use the Hammer teleport as well to get out of danger. And so this is going to be an interesting matchup that we don't see often, especially now. Sun Wukong versus Hunbass.
Purified going into the enemy jungle will be spotted out on his rotation. He tried to use that hand too to steal away the bottom camps here. Will he go for the left side bottom camps? He shouldn't because they're already taken, but he doesn't know that. He could get baited here.
That's definitely something that he has to watch out for. Now, that's the difference between hand 2 and hand 1.
Wolfie getting a huge amount of damage sent his way. A beautiful jump by the best. The somersault slows down Wolfie's pressure and actually will probably send him back to the base here. I assume we're going to see teleport.
Yeah, that's what we're going to see when you're sent home this early. You're sort of forced into it. Now, the somersault coming out from the best is a slow. It's a 30% slow when you land on them with that jump, so very important that he landed that.
Wolfie picking up Cloak there, selling it immediately, and picking up Iron Mail. He'll be running back to base, despite both me and FDOT assuming that he was going to be going into teleport.
I like it.
He will lose some golden experience for this, but he will leave open his second slot for something like Shell or possibly even Weakening Curse.
Which is so important. You know, I use the term forced into it because that's really what you are, especially when you buy that hog. It's such a lackluster item teleport in the later games if you're not going to utilize it, which is very tough to really use to the best of your advantage. So things like Shell, etc., can really help your team out a lot more, especially the Sun Wukong. But over here on the right-hand side of these mid camps, as they just spawned, they fight a little bit, and it looks like they go to Denial.
Yeah, I really like the way that Denial played that. Best throughout the Fear No Evil just to make sure that he could secure the camp, and he does. Denial takes both. Although some experience was lost, he lost 4 creeps in experience, 6 creeps in gold.
Thor lands, TV dashes right out of it. Good heads-up awareness. You know you can hear that coming down, Brandon, and if you're quick enough, you can dash out of it just like that. That Diamond Sobek being piloted very, very carefully by TV on the side of Polyjuice.
You know, we were watching Poly Scrims last night, and we saw TV have a few charge prays in a defensive measure to escape Krakens and to escape Agni Bombs. I mean, he's very quick on the draw, but he's going to need more than defense to deal with Denial here. And while we don't have First Blood just yet, Denial still has a small advantage.
Yeah, Denial's leading by just a little bit since they grabbed those mid-caps, but honestly, this is still anybody's game, Brandon. Really stuck right here in essentially what is a tie game. Left-hand side, we see Geb return to the lane. ShadowQ's going to sort of just get another wave of experience, and TV is coming out of the base. So looking at these two supports, TV on the Sobek and Geb, Sobek used to be countered hard by Geb, and now not so much anymore because of the way the shield changes. How do you, what are the differences in mentalities between these two characters?
Hard to say. What it's going to come down to in terms of the mentality, I think it's less about the two characters right now and more about the two teams. Going into this, Polyjuice has never won a single game against this lineup.
Oh.
In fact, most of the games have been pretty brutal. There was one time in which it was very close and Poly had a lead at 20 minutes, but I think of the other 6 or 7 games, Denial has had complete control starting at around the 5-minute mark, which is what we're reaching now.
Yeah, 5 minutes coming on now. We're going to see a buff taken down by the team of Polyjuice. Funny to see ShadowQ taunt in the lane before on that Geb. Always like to see that because Denial is a team, of course, the talent is spread out, but Denial is interesting. A lot of times in North America, we see the talent or the star players of the team, so to speak, in the hunter role or even the jungle role. ShadowQ is really one of the marquee players on this team, and he's playing support.
For me, I think it still comes down to Shing.
Of course.
I mean, Shing has, you know, the big personality, the big stream.
Yep.
I mean, the guy is just... he's also a joy to talk to. I mean, he's so smart about Smite. In fact, Shing was probably the first Smite player ever to have a build named after him. And that was the Celerity Boots, Hand of the Gods, Potion, something else start. Creeping Curse. Creeping Curse.
Creeping Curse.
Like, that was back in like August, September 2012. I mean, the guy has been around forever. And for me, when I think Denial, I'm still thinking Shing.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely Shing and ShadowQ are the two names to take home right there. So it's an interesting dynamic having a very strong jungler and a very strong support. They can sort of both travel. And speaking of Shing, he's going to ult back up, but it was sniffed out on the side of Polyjuice. Meanwhile, quietly, Mace of the Face gets a kill onto the enemy jungler. Purified dies for the first blood, and that one goes to Denial.
That's very unusual for Poly, having Purified give up the first blood. Generally, he is seen as kind of the star player of the team, even in a role that he didn't originally start in. And for him to give up first blood, that's going to hurt team morale.
So where does Purified really originate from as far as his role?
Oh, he is a mid laner front to back, but he's been grinding out. He wanted to play for this team very badly, so he started grinding out junglers. He's had an amazing season, probably the best season so far, though.
Oh.
Moji, who usually winds up being one of the first people to fall on the team, answers back for the team, following a pretty decent kill to Madman Mark, getting him before he's able to get into that Astral Barrage. Moji keeps the dream alive here for Poly, but they're still about 800 down.
Very quick answer coming out from the Hunter on the red team. I like how quickly that was, and how it was a one-on-one. You see this a lot, and that really shows a good thought process coming out from the Hunter. It's always a one-on-one in that lane most of the time after the 5 or 6 minute mark, so you know that it's just up to you. The kill goes, and it's
right
up
side.
to you. And right here, Best is in a little bit of trouble. Purified's going to answer for him and get his kill back. That's the second kill on the side of Polyjuice, so Purified, a little angry.
Divine Judgment was really smart there. Best had already used his jump. Really, he had no answer to that whatsoever, except for Ultimate. And strangely, I see that diamond. I'm not 100% sure that it was up the whole time, but it seems like it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's immediately what I just did, Brandon. I looked to see if there was any wards. It looked like he went around it just because he wanted to not be seen. He, of course, being Purified, the one that got the kill. Left-hand side, Geb is going to come back into this left-hand lane, but it will be spotted over a blue team ward, so they'll know that he's coming. TV's going to back, and we'll see what TV picks up. He's about to finish his boots. Picks up the tank boots, reinforced Greaves.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
It gives you a small amount of power and a very small amount of health. I think the big part of this is that you're getting crowd control reduction, but with how mobile Sobek is, I think sometimes the cooldown would have been better. I'm interested to see how he plans to use these boots, especially considering the stronger pickup, in my opinion, which is what we saw from ShadowQ, and that's going to be the Winged Wand, as it is almost finished. He'll get cooldown, he'll get movement speed, he's going to get a small amount of attack speed, which might not help, but slow immunity is such a huge thing here against, 2 slows coming out from Cupid, you got a slow coming out from Purified, slows coming out from Wolfie. I mean, it's a good pickup.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons and tons of slows on this enemy team. As you mentioned, 3 out of the 5 characters, and that's pretty much a good indication to go ahead and purchase it. And with the removal of Midas boots in Season 2, the mentality of forcing the boots, rushing the boots, it's gone. You don't need to have boots right away.
Although 1,500 for 40 damage on Warrior Tabby, I mean, like, ooh, it's not a bad pickup indeed.
No, of course not. On a support, your mentality isn't all about the damage. Right here, TV looks like he's looking for a pull in the left-hand lane, but over on the right-hand side, 3 members as the mid rotates over.
Oh, wow.
There goes the kill. Very quickly, Jaco Malfoy again claims the life of the Best. It looks like Polyjuice was really focusing on this right-hand solo lane, Brandon.
They've got to be careful, though, because you know the dynamic. If you focus solo, you lose gold. Luckily for them, though, Xing has rotated over. Is Xing going to go for the steal here? A little bit too late. Doesn't find anything. In fact, he's going to find a whole bunch of damage as Polyjuice turns to him. They might overcommit on this, though.
Beautiful
wow,
stun.
not at all.
Beautiful stun coming out from the Thor right there. Saw the cat stun coming out to get him. Turned around, hit the wall. Unfortunately, was not enough. Able to confirm the kill is Polyjuice, and that'll even it up. Polyjuice actually sneaking ahead by a couple of gold, leading 4 kills to 1 as we approach the 10-minute mark, and Fire Giant spawns.
This for me is quintessential Polyjuice. Their teamfight presence is decent. Their gank potential is unbelievably high, maybe top 2 NA, but they can't farm. I mean, they're 3 kills up at 10 minutes, and they're up by 500 gold, and they're down in experience. That should never be the case.
So they're sort of IRAFer the team. IRAFer, of course, turning over a whole new leaf and playing a great support over on the European side of things. You can catch his games tomorrow at 1 p.m. He'll be fighting for Team Panthera. But right now, in the North American side of things, we're going to see Polyjuice just hit the 2,600 mark. So they're leading, or 26,000. So they're leading by about 500 gold, which is the beginning of the beginning. You sort of have a foothold, and you want to grab the next 2 rocks and start climbing this wall, Brandon. Where are they looking? Are they going to look to really get this Gold Fury?
It's hard to say. Geb has a much better Gold Fury presence, even from defense, than Sobek will. What it's going to come down to is how much damage and how much control Wolfie will have. He's level 13 right now, very far ahead of everyone except for Mace, and the mystical mail is done, meaning Madman Mark, Best, and Shing will not have a presence against him. He will deal too much damage in return and has great space control and pressure with Master's Will, which has been maxed. So I want to see Wolfie make the rotation soon. He didn't take the teleport early, but he did wind up taking it in the mid-game. He has about 100 seconds. When this comes off cooldown, I want to see him back, I want to see him pick it up, and I want to see that Gold Fury, but right now they're going for it early.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of damage coming out from the Cupid on it, and as soon as they see Madman Mark, they get a little shy and they dance away. So they have 3 members deep right here as Jacob Malfoy makes the rotation, and here comes TV from the right-hand side. So Madman Mark, the only one right here, obviously, but the rest of his team was lurking right in that little corner by the mid-camp. So
there's the power play. Wolfie taking a lot of damage here from Shing. Fields of Love going to come down. It looks like, yeah, Mace is going to get sent in. He's trying to use his beads there. He's trying to look for the big shot. So far, Wolfie's too low. He forced to ult. Fear No Evil's going to come down. TV will be going down.
Wolfie gets an amazing kill off the very tip of the cudgel right there, getting it with the #1, so that's going to land a kill. Purified will fall to the Best, who also makes the rotation. The 2 monkeys wind up in the middle lane, and that's going to be a great fight for Denial. They pick up 3 kills, giving them 4, whereas Polyjuice only gets 1. They kill Mace in the face, but it's just not enough, and Denial Esports is going to start the Gold Fury. Doesn't look like they have enough HP to really commit to it, as the Best takes out Jaco. Really didn't need to die right there.
I did not expect Best to get that kill in that manner.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'm underestimating Best's assassin play. This is not a class that we usually see him play. He's really big on mages. He always has been as a mid player, and he's kind of found his niche as well with some warriors, but that was quintessential assassin play. Beautiful rotation in, will find Malfoy, pushes out Wolfie, Denial takes the Gold Fury, and that's going to spike the lead back in their favor. 1,900 gold, 3,300 experience.
Yeah, and at the 13-minute mark, Brandon, that's going to be a very substantial lead for Denial Esports. This is definitely the first real lead of the game. We mentioned a little bit of tipping in the team's favors, but this is the one where Denial really claims their first place. So I had the same thought going into this game, Brandon. The Best playing an assassin, a little bit different, but what mage do you think of when you think of the Best?
Scylla. I think he was the first player to put Scylla on the map. Otherwise, Poseidon and Zeus.
I think Scylla and Hebo.
Hebo, okay.
And
I love his put a ward at the hot spot near mid camps. They walk into lane, knock up every single time.
But so Hebois plays like a mage assassin. He's extremely susceptible to dying, and we've seen a lot of interesting plays come out from the Best where he uses melee range knockups and then gets it. So it's a similar thought process. Now we're seeing the mechanics come out, and the Best is turning into a very scary solo laner with a wide god pool, and that's really one of the scariest attributes a solo laner can possess.
That's true, and what's funny, that was actually his biggest weakness when he was a mid laner for former Dignitas. He had the lowest god pool at the end of Season 2, playing only 7 gods, I think, over the course of 30-plus games.
And placing 7 wards. But yeah, I mean, I love the transition. A lot of times when mid goes to solo, it's tough, and it has been a long, arduous battle for the Best. But here, as we said, he's really coming into himself right here, learning how to be a solo laner. Tried to invade over there on the left-hand side into the purple buff, not able to quite land it. Denial very stacked on the left-hand side of the map right now.
I can't believe how much damage Best is putting out right now onto Wolfie. Even level, Wolfie having, 60 protections from Mystical Mail and a lot of damage potential. He's just not getting the same level of pressure. He's going to be forced to ult. Fear No Evil was wasted. Best will have Somersault and Overhand Smash up should they choose to fight once again.
I like the bait of the Fear No Evil coming out from the Hun Bats. It was definitely, it almost looked calculated. I'm not going to say it was, because it could have just Wolfie, oops, have to ult. But it worked out well in Wolfie's favor in this solo lane that's becoming a very interesting one. As I mentioned before, it's not a matchup that we see often, and these two players are making it very entertaining. As Shing and Purified are coming over, both teams know it though.
Yeah, Purified's going to spot out Shing and force him away. Both junglers level 13. I don't like the use of Slice and Dice here. That's going to give Shing a lot of pressure on the invade. 4-man grouping here from Denial will guarantee this buff as Wolfie decides the wiser choice to head on back. Best will pick up the enemy blue. Low health or not, he is just completely undeterred.
Yeah, so I mean, that was definitely a quality decision coming out from Polyjuice.
Oh, wait. Look at this. Best is backing. Wolfie's not going to spot it. Best able to walk away from that one cleanly off, which is kind of a lazy back. Still has Somersault available. Should be fine here. Mid lane, big grouping.
Big grouping over here in the mid lane as teams sort of get ready for these mid camps to spawn. 16 minutes in, they're still pretty relevant. Not as important as they were the 3rd minute of the game, but definitely still a valuable asset to pick up. Moji is about to get collapsed on. Already low, there's a stun and a couple of hits, and Madman Mark is going to claim that one for himself. The Rom will back with the 2-1-1 slash line.
Right now, Best just barely able to escape as Wolfie and Purified push Shing out towards his tier 2. Nothing lost, nothing gains. Right side camps going to Poly, left side camps going to Denial. Plus, of course, their win on the left side. Moji kind of overextending into dark territory with absolutely no ward coverage on that side of the map.
Right. The only ward that Moji had was up by her own purple buff, which is so easy to come down. Wolfie taking a little bit of damage because he's underneath the tower, aggressing onto Shing, but already tanky is Wolfie with pretty much just Mystical Mail. He's got Warrior Tab, and he's starting to build attack speed, Brandon, so that Mystical Mail is really doing work for Wolfie.
You know, one of the reasons that Sun Wukong is not seen as one of the strongest solo laners is because he doesn't have sustainability in lane unless he ults. And generally speaking, wasting an ult just for CC, or rather sustain, is not going to help. Wolfie right there barely manages to get out. Sacred Monkey is off cooldown here, so we'll have some type of teleport, and he also has Somersault as well. Slight advantage here to Wolfie, but Best has his ultimate coming up in a little over 10.
Yeah, both of these characters and players really are being played well. I am enjoying this solo lane matchup, but right now the damage is in the left-hand lane. Duo on duo, support and Hunter fighting each other. Good hit coming out from Moji, but it's not going to be enough. Poseidon senses the danger, and we'll see the mid laner rotate.
You notice Tom there, he said good hit because she missed 4 auto attacks directly after right lane.
Yep.
Best able to pick up Wolfie. We have Fields of Love in the left side. TV doing some damage here with the ult, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He's probably going down here. Kraken will be enough. Mace will pick up a kill. 2 people dead right now for Poly, but they're going forward. Mace picked off.
Jaco's a big deal. Comes over, hits up Mace to the face. You know, interesting choice to use the Kraken there with TV so low. If the Kraken was still available, might have been able to turn it around on Jaco, but I don't think Jaco would have committed as hard if the Kraken was still off cooldown. So good decision making based on cooldowns coming out from Polyjuice right there to answer right back, and that's sort of been the motif for them.
Moji, with a minor misplay, left a creep alive and then walked through a ward. She's more than likely going to get pushed out here. She does, for now, save the Gold Fury, but I don't know how long that's going to last. Rotations are coming over. Malfoy is there to keep it safe as well. Madman Mark and Shadow Q are there to push the lane over and left. Purple buff available on red side. Don't know if they're going to try to go for the invade this time as Shadow Q chooses to back.
Mid lane, Polyjuice has 3 members deep. They're sort of coming over to the left-hand side as they're taking a look at the Gold Fury. So something they want to pick up, and they're using all the ultimates. They're trying to burst this down before Denial has a chance to respond. This is a gutsy play, Brandon, but I like it. Thor's in the air. He lands, but it's after Polyjuice gets the Gold Fury. They're going to fight for it. Shing gets the kill onto the Guardian. If that's all they get, Brandon, this is more than worth it, and it looks like it will be. Polyjuice picks up a surprise Gold Fury.
They're going to go to FG here. Beautiful call. No, wait, where is Shadow Q going? Placing a ward down, perhaps? They go right to Fire Giant.
Nice.
One of the biggest issues there was Jaco Malfoy's Path of Flames and Flame Wave usage on the Gold Fury put him They didn't have enough strength to keep it going, and now with no hand 3, I don't see how they're going to defend this.
No, Wolfie needed to have the hand 3 right now, but how can you predict the future? Nothing Wolfie can do here.
Look at the damage.
On the side of Shadow Q. All the damage is out, both from the Fire Giant and the enemy team. The best drops the ultimate, but Moji gets a kill with Fields of Love. Shing falls down. Moji gets a kill onto the best as well. Fire Giant looks like it fell in the middle of that fight, so blue team will have an advantage. Madman Mark and Shadow Q both pick up kills. Madman gets the double, and that fight is going to go in spades to Denial Esports, leading by 3,000 gold. That mid-fight Fire Giant changed everything. Moji had a double kill before that, Brandon.
So, you know, I think one of the biggest issues here is we're not seeing the Wrath of the Gods come online soon enough. If Purified had finished up his hand as opposed to going into Balance Blade, there might have been an opportunity for him to steal that. But in that engagement, they didn't have the pressure, and with TV's death, right now, Polyjuice drops the Fire Giant. Now, granted, Denial lost 2 members with the FG. That's going to be the best, and it looks like Shing. But realistically, the only person you really needed on for tower pressure is Madman Mark.
100% true, as Madman Mark just chewing through these towers with that steroid coming out from Rom, able to cut it down. You know, with the two characters, you mentioned Purified should have the Wrath of the Gods. With the two characters of Nemesis and Sun Wukong,
there should have been at least one more.
I would have liked to see the Wrath of the Gods come online in the Soul Lane, but as I said, you can't really predict the future. Interesting play, and then answered by the Fire Giant.
I'm very curious to see Wolfie pick up Iqbal here. Now, this is an item generally seen on characters who are looking to stay in the front line, or maybe even assassins or even hunters can use this well from ranged. But for Wolfie right now, he's already losing a lot of health very quickly. So to see an Iqbal, I wonder what his strategy is going to be going into the latter part of this game. Should he get caught, he's not going to have as much defense as he might need, considering how much damage he's already been taken with this. I would expect a bigger presence coming out from Purified right now, and for the first time in a long time, Purified actually negative going into the endgame here as he's 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, nobody on the side of Polyjuice is positive. They're either negative or even, so little uphill battle. They have been getting their kills, though, worth saying. 2 kills on just about everybody outside of Moji, who has 3, and, you know, leaving the support out of that conversation. But Denial Esports really making use of this Fire Giant buff. Everything since that FG call has been extremely calculated.
Check out right side. I mean, Best splitting the tier 2. They're guaranteed 1,500 gold here.
Yeah, they're going to get that tier 2 on the right-hand side unless somebody answers, and it doesn't look like they will, because Denial's also pain training down the left-hand side.
Well, if he could teleport.
Yeah.
And he does. Yes, he is going to teleport indeed. This will push Best away, but considering the Fire Giant buff activates still on the left side for 3 members, I expect that we're going to see maybe even a semi-power play happen here.
Yeah, I think that Denial right now is sort of sizing up Polyjuice, seeing if they can fight the 4-on-4, with which the Fire Giant they definitely can. Shadow Q going to tank a couple of the hits, signaling to his team that he wants to go in, but they wait for the minions, and here it is. Madman Mark just chewing through this tower, Brandon. So much damage onto it.
Iqbal works out for Wolfie in the right side, actually outboxing Hunbots, even with Hunbots' massive lead here, level 20 to level 18. He saves the right side, but obviously not for long, as we have a major grouping here from Denial. They'll move in, most likely to take another 1,500 gold, and with the tower's health already being as crippled as it is, I don't see them making much of a defense here.
I mean, basically what they're doing, Brandon, is they're playing Protect the Madman Mark, because he's the person that's going to kill these structures.
And he is.
Structures, and he's just, like I said, there it goes. There's another structure. Polyjuice has 0 towers remaining. Now, this is sort of what I was talking about. That was completely calculated from a playbook. And it's so great to see just how we're going to have a member split push. They'll push him out. We're not going to be able to get the tower because they're going to push back on us, but we can rotate as a unit, bring our hunter with us, get it. It just looked so clean and efficient all the way from the choice to go Fire Giant to get Gold Fury. Denial has looked extremely efficient.
So, on the side of non-efficiency, Malfoy has gone into Book of Thoth rather late in the game. It will give him a decent amount of damage, but with that lost artifact already started, he would have had about the same amount of damage, maybe a little bit less mana, had he chosen to go into Doom Orb in the early game. Granted, stacks are a big deal, but left side, let's take a look here at Wolfie getting forced away, taking about 65% of his health. Rapid fire there as Best and Mace push forth. 1,500 more gold added to the coffers. Big win.
Yeah, Denial Esports, they push Wolfie out just to sort of provide distance and spacing in order to sneak that Gold Fury. Polyjuice did it to them earlier in the game. They wanted to do it just as well, but at this point, 25 minutes, just under the 25-minute mark, folks. So much gold on the side of Denial. They have 60,000 gold to 50,000 on Polyjuice. Able to do so much damage to that Gold Fury, really no problem. Blue team with 12 kills, red team with 8. Denial Esports clearly in the lead.
Fire Giant respawns here. We're going to see groupings on the right side. No Phoenix is down, which means Poly shouldn't have to play too much defense, but you will see them start to move around. There is an advantage in experience here, and there's definitely an advantage in gold, but do note, not all of the gold has been spent, most notably right now in the hands of Blue. TV dives in here as the as the Cataclysm goes off. Xing will go up into the air. Mace going to be able to get out of the Fields of Love. No, he's not, but the Kraken is huge. Xing goes down, going to be able to pick up Moji, and it looks like try to get out of this one. Boxing in the back line. Shadow Q doing a lot more damage to Malfoy on the return, but Xing will wind up going down to Wolfie. Wolfie with the double.
Wolfie doing very well in this fight in particular. The Best throws up the hit on the 2 and tries to get it. Stunned out his Shadow Q with a great play from Jacob Malfoy. TV does miss the flips, though, so that's going to be a little problematic. Best is looking for an exit. The rest of his team is looking to stay here, chasing out the enemy. This is a turnaround right here. Purified forced out. TV trying to stay. Jacob Malfoy waiting for those meteors to come back up, but a great teleport! And the best gets it with the Sacred Monkey. We talked about how we don't see him on this character much. He's been playing it because that is not an easy thing to pull off.
Madman Mark finds the cripple after the roll, but he's slowed. There goes the Geb shield. Best is here as well. Wolfie might not be in a good spot. He's definitely overcommitting here. There's Best. He gets picked off. I think the tunnel vision there was too much. Wolfie gets picked off. Now Fire Giant almost belongs here to Denial.
That right there was visible frustration, Brandon.
Yeah.
That fight was going so well for Polyjuice. The Cupid ult was a little bit off the mark to start the fight, as was the blink in from TV, but they turned it around and they really started doing well.
I don't think the blink from TV was bad. We had kind of a counter blink, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So both supports blink in, they both hit their targets, but Shadow Q actually uses his ult where TV only needed to use Tail Whip, and they did the same thing. The big issue, like you said, was most definitely the Fields of Love was completely off the mark. It controlled almost nothing. It kind of got Mace in the end, but the Kraken, I mean, once again, Moji stacking up, not finding anything.
That said, they turned it around, Brandon, and that fight was going Polyjuice's way. Wolfie got the double kill, Best was forced out, but they started over-committing. Right here, Denial, as you said, they're going to pick up that Fire Giant for free because of winning that fight. Shing's going to go up, and they're going to look to catch the stragglers. Lands on Moji. She's able to get out of there, no problem. Will she die? It's up to Shing. He does get the kill onto the Hunter. Down in the air is Rom trying to get some artillery kills. Mace to the face as Kraken annihilates TV. And now there's only 3 members to really defend the base for Polyjuice. Denial Esports already over 10,000.
That was probably the smartest Kraken we've seen all game.
Yes.
Making sure they kill the support at this level means their defense is eradicated. Wolfie is not tanky enough with this build to be able to hold off 5 people with Fire Giant. It's just not possible. So with that, all 5 members of Denial take down the Phoenix in mid. They'll push to the left side where Shadow Q begins his pressure in, and once again, Madman Mark blowing this up.
Jacob Malfoy has nowhere to go, stuck between quite literally a rock and a hard place. Geb's gonna die though. Wolfie, the aggressive build, working out for him. He picks up his 5th kill. Battle still raging on. Phoenix falls, but the Best gets the kill on a Purified. Jumps onto Wolfie. Killed before he goes to the ultimate. Denial Esports looks golden right now, staring down the diamond skin of TV. And they're gonna rotate onto the right-hand side and pick up the last Phoenix available to them. Denial on a tear.
With Geb down here, I don't know if it's smart for them to go in against the duo lane. Shing, though, with an absolutely perfect wall, gonna shut down TV. They will be able to get this one, and I love the Fear No Evil from Best, separating Moji from the pack. They might lose someone here, and that's a big maybe, but TV guaranteed goes down. Moji overcommitting to the fight, could be in some trouble, but the Flutter back into the fountain will save her for now. All objectives currently down, with Gold Fury coming up in just a few seconds. Denial has a free trip back to the base, and the 3 main members here still have 2 of them have over 1,600 gold in hand. If they thought that pressure was bad, it's only going to get worse.
They're so clean, Brandon. They're so clean this match. That right-hand Phoenix, there was no thought of going for a kill. There was no thought of it.
That wall.
The wall was not used to set up a hammer. The wall was used get away from my front line. The Fear No Evil was not used to set up a kill. It was used to get away from my front line. I want to kill your tower and then go home and eat a sandwich. And that's what they did. They didn't stay later. They got a kill accidentally with a Kraken. That's cool fun. But that wasn't their mindset. They just wanted the Phoenix. They sweep out all the Phoenixes. Denial Esports, I mean, they're really just waiting to end this game at this point, Brandon. Polyjuice has a very uphill battle if they want to turn this one around.
5 members of Denial pushing in here. Poly on their last legs with all Phoenixes down. We'll need to try to make a final stand here, but with this comp, I don't know that we're going to see much of a rather Titan-esque defense. I think this one's going to get pushed down here. Denial, strangely, not pushing in immediately. Fire Giant buff still available for 60.
Again, just staying with their thought process here. They want to keep the enemy on their toes. They're waiting for just the right moment. I don't know what that moment is, Brandon, but everything's been calculated since that Fire Giant call 15 minutes ago or or 13 minutes ago, so they're waiting for the right spot. I guess it's with these minions pouring in, and here it comes. Shadow Q with a brilliant ultimate, going to stun out everybody. Madman Mark gets a kill on a Draco Malfoy. That's a beautiful Cupid ultimate, but will it be enough? The Titan already down at 50%, and they are still going on. Denial Esports looking for the win.
They should have it here. Thor takes to the sky. Titan will fall. Denial Esports wins the first game in Pool 1. Rather, Pool 2?
Yeah.
Pool 2, excuse me, Pool 2. And we're going to see them take an early lead. Polyjuice on the ropes.
Polyjuice, you know, it looked like they had a really good setup up until that moment. I think that moment really hurt them mentally, Brandon, where they got a Gold Fury and they patted themselves on the back. And I don't want to say they rested on their laurels. It's just they did the good thing. They did the do.
Yeah.
And they just got trumped.
You know, for me, this is the patented Polyjuice Gold Fury throw. They got the Gold Fury, but they lost the Fire Giant.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just started to spiral. A damn good game, though, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, well played. Really liked the Soul Lane action. Was a lot of fun. But with that one in the books, Denial takes the victory over Polyjuice. Let's take a look at the Group B standings. So that'll put Polyjuice at 0-1 and Denial at 1-0. Really the only game that we've going on right now. Legion and COG still have yet to play. So we're going to take a look at that. Also, Group A is something that we want to look at as well. They're on the other side of things. That's the group containing Complexity and Team Eager and some other players as well.
That's right, Nomads and Busters. I mean, there's... Okay, so this just in from production. First game of the day, Complexity has defeated Busters expectedly, I would think. I mean, Complexity going to be a very hard team to beat today. I don't expect them to drop any games.
Yeah, Complexity, a very strong team. They were a member of the SPL last season, so they're sort of expecting to go into the SPL. Will that hurt them or help them? That mentality, Brandon, is a little bit of a question that we'll have to figure out. But right now, with that win, let's take a look at that. Group A, as we said, Complexity takes the first victory of the day, so they'll be sitting pretty up on top. Busters in the number 2 seed because, again, Eager and Team Nomad, which is Jerby's team, have yet to play.
That's true. So the Nomads are... They should be doing pretty well here today. Everyone's kind of expecting them to be, it's either them or Eager going forward. Right. Buster's kind of towards the bottom of the pack. We're really looking at Jerby, Sasek, and the boys to maybe get that second slot. But I think fan favorite Team Eager will most likely be the ones to take it today.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one. That team with Sasek has really been a quiet underdog, so I'm not going to make any distinction right there. But for now, since we missed it, we're going to take a look at some of the better plays in the Complexity game that we just missed. So stay tuned and take a look at Allied and the boys do the work.
Cyclone and the boys. Just